Little Dirk. He was arrested afterwards. So this is them basically combining the case and tightening up the charges, tightening up the case as they prepare for the arraignment here.
And again, this one is interesting because there are also 6 other defendants in this case as well. And on social media, the case and just the conversation about this stems back to November of 2020. This is when one of the other people on his record label, I should say rapper King Von, was killed. This is after he got into a fight with Quando Rondo. So this case that's as it's coming out and we're learning more details has been in the works for a long time because again the original issue stemmed from 4 years ago now at this point.
Yes, this was a long time coming, and you can tell there was a really long investigation into this. And just based on the indictment, the surveillance images that the federal prosecutors have released, it sounds like they have built quite a case here, and they're definitely ready for it to be in court.
So I do want to read off some additional charges that we do know that the FBI has now charged Lil Durk with. This is 1 count of conspiracy, 1 count of interstate facilities to commit murder for hire resulting in death, 1 count of using, carrying, and discharging firearms and a machine gun, and possession of such firearms, furtherance of a crime of violence resulting in death. So we should also note that in this case, it wasn't actually the rapper Quando Rondo who was injured. It was a friend of his who was shot and killed in this as well. So when you're talking about the implications of this and going forward, with these charges, do you see where he's going to end up with the federal government in this case? Obviously, we do know Young Thug just beat some of his charges in his case, but that was a state case. This is a completely different ballgame here.
Yeah, and Young Thug didn't beat his charges. He actually pleaded guilty and no contest and is now on probation for 15 years. So I don't think, and if he violates it, he's going to go to prison for 20. So I don't think we're going to see a plea deal, probation plea deal, and it wasn't a plea deal, it was an open plea. But I don't think we're going to see a plea like that in this case. We could see this go to trial, but I am experienced with one of the prosecutors in particular. I've covered trials that he's done, prison murder trials, other things like that. So he's very experienced in cases like this. So if they want to try to take this to trial, I'm sure the prosecutors would be happy to try it. If they want any kind of plea agreement just based on the charges, I think they're looking at a hefty amount of time in prison. So it'll be interesting to see what kind of defense they get. We haven't seen a big offensive defense from him yet, but that could be coming.
And lastly, before I let you go, Megan, I get another interesting piece of this case. The federal government did say that Lil Durk tried to flee before being arrested, buying several plane tickets to international locations. Do you think that that will play a role when it comes down to this case heading to trial potentially and what his sentence could be overall?
I think that will definitely matter if he tries to get any kind of bail situation. The prosecutors are going to be pointing to that outright. Whether that will matter if he is sentencing, I think that the charges by themselves will stand alone, but that trying to flee like that or having tickets like that does not bode well for him getting out pre-trial at all.
Absolutely. So again, legal affairs journalist Megan Cuniff here to break down just what we know at this point there in this Lil Durk case. Of course, we'll be checking in as we learn more information. I appreciate you being with us here on Live Now.
Thank you so much for having me.